I have always loved the Pokemon world, and ever since I was young, it's been my dream to live there. But there's a problem. You see, I live in Australia, and unfortunately, in the entire Pokemon world, there is no region that represents Australia. Which led me to ask myself a question. If I lived in the Pokemon world, which region would I want to live in? Now, don't let the jumper fool you. I am a Gen 1 boomer, but the world has come a long way since the days of Kanto. But of course, if we're going to go through the regions, where else do we start? Now, when we look at Kanto, it's the place where it all started, and it's no surprise that it's based in Japan itself. Kanto is actually a real place in Japan, and it's home to places like Tokyo, and we can see that translated into the world. When we see places like Celadon City and Saffron City based on the appeal of Tokyo. Then we have places like Vermilion City, which are based on Yokohama, the biggest seaport in Japan. Now, Kanto being home to my favorite Pokemon in Machamp, and having amazing gym leaders like Blaine, Sabrina, Giovanni, even the Elite Four holding people like Lance, it's just such an incredible place and somewhere where you'd probably love to compete. And I'm sure that many of us that love Pokemon would all love to go to Japan. But would we like to live there? I guess we'll find that out later in the video. Now on to Johto. Johto again is based on a real region in Japan, and that's why in these games you're able to go back to the other region because they are actually right next to each other. The most famous city in Johto, Goldenrod, is actually based on Osaka itself. And while we all love this place, I'm pretty sure we all feel the same about Whitney's Miltank. Now, this region introducing adorable Pokemon like Teddiursa and behemoths like Tyranitar makes it really amazing and somewhere you'd want to see. Not to mention exploring the mysteries of unknown. And of course, Johto being right next to Kanto makes it unbelievably appealing, but it also makes it a little less unique. Let's head to the next area, which is a huge fan favorite, and that is the Hoenn region. Now, while Hoenn is also set in Japan, this time we're going a little more southeast toward Kyushu. Now, this area is quite different to the other two. It's known for its mountainous regions and housing the largest volcano in Japan, Mount Aso. Aso? Someone in the comments tell me how to say this because I don't know. Now, Hoenn does have a little more similar vibe toward Australia because it has islands. And Australia is an island that's surrounded by islands. Not to mention, it's home to Mudkip. Do I have to say any more? It's home to Mudkip. And although this region is also home to the iconic Wallace, it would be really terrifying to live here because you have Groudon and Kyogre going at it all the time until Daddy Rayquaza comes from the skies and breaks it up. And while that sounds really fun in the games, living there would be pretty scary. I think I'd rather deal with Team Rocket than Teams Magma and Aqua and their giant gods. Now next we have the Sinnoh region, which again is in Japan. Now for Sinnoh, we have to head north, to the utmost north of Japan, to another island, and this island is a little more Australian than the one we just spoke about. Though I feel like Sinnoh is kind of cheating because we've seen this region years in the past as well, thanks to Hisui and the Pokemon Legends of Arceus games. So I'm going to focus more on current Sinnoh because I can't really live in the past. Now, Sinnoh is kind of known as the Holy Land. It's the first land that started the beginning of all Pokemon regions, at least according to the lore as I understand it. And I feel like living here would mean you would have to be worshipping Lord Arceus. It seems like a fairly religious place. And while this region does really appeal to me with its beaches and island feel, it unfortunately is home to the gods of time and space and the god creator of all Pokemon himself, Arceus. And I think I'd like to stay off their radar, not to mention the terrifying force that is Giratina. Other than that, it does have some upsides. I think it is a beautiful region that looks incredible, and the Pokemon here are wonderful. Who doesn't love the starters of Sinnoh? And while Chimchar is a huge fan favorite, I am Team Piplup all the way. And you'd struggle to find a more iconic champion in the Pokemon games than Cynthia. And let's also not forget that we wouldn't have Lord Peanut Butter without this region. Oh, hail Bidoof. Next up, we have the home to what are arguably some of the best games in the series, and that is Unova. And for the first time, we are venturing out of Japan to New York City. Now, when it comes to the games and the story of this region, it's really incredible, but we're going to be talking about the region itself. But I do have to mention how incredible the story of Team Plasma and Ghetsis just truly is. If you haven't played these games, then please play them. I think my favorite thing about this region is the fact that all the Pokemon that you start with in this game are from solely this region. And I'm not sure if I absolutely love Conkeldurr because it's just Unova and Machamp, or because I love Conkeldurr. Having more of a city feel is pretty home to someone like me who lives in Sydney. Home to a lot of fan favorites like Krookodile and Volcarona, not to mention the forces of nature. Those three genies are pretty up there, as well as Keldeo and Kyurem and Genesect, and likely the most forgettable Pokemon of all time, Meloetta. And if you don't love Oshawott, are you even human. Now, I must say this, I have an incredible connection to my Reshiram from Pokemon Black. I don't know if Reshiram is loved by everybody, but I know that my Reshiram is loved by me. And as much as I'd love to talk about this region all day, I think I would just talk about the story of the games, which wouldn't be happening to me in real life in the region. So let's go on to the next region, which is Kalos. Now for Kalos, we again are going to traverse the globe all the way to France. Now I have amazing memories of this region. From riding my bike around the tower in Lumio City hatching all those eggs, to the introduction of Megas. I mean, who didn't love Mega Pokemon? Game Freak, if you're listening, please bring them back. I absolutely love this region, even down to its layout. And the introduction to fairy types, we got a whole new type, we got Megas. What a wonderful, wonderful place. Now the story was a little strange. Again, we wouldn't be experiencing those stories if we lived there. We are not the main character in the video games, we're just a guy that lives in the region. So that being said, I would love to be able to just catch a Talonflame as soon as I leave the starting town. I think the Pokemon in this region are incredibly designed. Who doesn't love Aegislash and Panda Marchamp? Now, of course, there is the fan favorite of Greninja in this region, which, due to the anime, I really started to love. Though I don't know if mine would be that cool. Next, let's move on to a beautiful place known as Alola. Now, people came down pretty hard on this region for eliminating gyms and having trials, but I think it fit pretty well with the nature of the place. Though I will say I am definitely more a fan of gyms. Now, with a place that is obviously based on Hawaii, it looks like a really relaxing place to be. Beaches everywhere, resorts, the battle tree to go hang with your Pokemon, and just, oh, what a wonderful place Alola really is. I think there is something incredibly beautiful about this being 4 different islands and a Tapu watching over either of them. It's a really beautiful place with a really beautiful history. Though, unfortunately, this wonderful paradise is also home to an alien invasion, which I think is a bit of a deal breaker for me. As much as I love Ultra Beasts like Kartana, I don't really want to live in a place where I have to worry about aliens invading me. I mean, as a child, I found Mars Attack scary, and that movie is satire. I clearly don't want to live around aliens, so I must give this region a lot of love for introducing regional variants. Who does not love the gigantic Executor? I think it brought a smile to all of our faces when we first saw this Pokemon. Now onto the Galar region, which is set in Great Britain. It's parts of England and Scotland. While I think it would be incredible to wander the wild area and look at all the beautiful Pokemon out in the wild, I do think this region would be a little terrifying because there would be 30-foot Pokemon stomping around. We all saw that one episode with the Tentacruel and the damage that it did. Do we want to live in a place where this could happen on a daily basis? While I do think this region has incredible stadiums, wonderful fields, and does look quite beautiful, I think I'm just a little worried about Godzilla. Tyranitar is in the game. I'm worried about actual Godzilla. Now I will say, with the islands introduced in the DLC, this place became pretty amazing. There are wonderful islands. You can go to a wonderful paradise similar to that of Alola, or you can go to a beautiful snowy place, and as someone from Australia, snow is quite foreign to me. Not to mention an incredible train system that can get you everywhere. I think out of all the regions, this one has the best transport. Not to mention flying Corviknight taxis. You could really just get from A to B so easily in this place. And if you're living in a region, I think that's fairly important. Next, we have the most recent region, and that is Paldea. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I love Paldea as a region. I think it's an incredible place. Minus the fact that you'll have a Tauros chasing you everywhere you go, this place is beautiful. It has all different kinds of locations, all different kinds of terrain, and it looks beautiful. And in real life, it wouldn't run in -7 frames a second. You'd actually be able to enjoy the beauty with your own eyes. Now, I know we won't be living the story, but I must say the story in these games is probably the best it's been in a very long time. And I'm truly looking forward to the DLC. I absolutely love the concept of time travel here, how in one game you have Pokemon from the past and the other Pokemon from the future. And as someone who actually never learned how to ride a bike, getting my own Cyclizar would be really helpful. Now, Paldea being home to probably the most iconic gym leaders in Iono and Grusha, and let's be real, Larry is everything. I absolutely love Larry, probably one of my favorite characters in all of the Pokemon games, I am Team Larry all the way. Drop a comment if you're Team Larry. Now, when I travel across Paldea, it does give me similar vibes to somewhere like Kalos, and that's because this place is actually based on the Iberian Peninsula, which is a place that contains Spain and Portugal, which is actually right near where Kalos would be. I think Paldea is a beautiful place and probably one of my favorite regions. So now for the part that you guys have been waiting for. Which region would I, as an Australian, like to live in if I lived in the Pokemon world? Now, just before I tell you the answer, I would love you to go down to the comment section and let me know where you would like to live. And while you're down there, hit the like button if you enjoyed this video and subscribe for more Pokemon content. So now that the shameless plug is out of the way, I must say that for me, the winning region is Kalos. I absolutely love this place. I think it just gives me such incredible memories as well, and I would love to visit the cities as well as the beaches and just travel around the lovely world based on France. I think Kalos has the best balance of city and beach and just terrain to explore, and I really love the place. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm trying something new and I'm really trying to break my way into the Pokemon world. As always guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and have a wonderful day.